Hello guys. Today I have a very special speed build for you. It's the beginning of my entrance to Narnia in the Lion, Witch, in the Wardrobe. So here is the wardrobe, and I'm cosplaying as Lucy at the moment, kind of squeezing through and then finding the lamppost. And then I'll also be showing you my speed build to Mr. Tumnus's house. So yeah, this was a little labor of love because I really wanted to do this little Narnia entrance justice, and especially Mr. Tumnus. So yeah, I hope you enjoy, and let's get into it. Okay, starting off, this is the area we're working with. So I already did a little bit of terraforming in the beginning. That was kind of when I was setting out the areas to the left and the right. I kind of wanted to do the initial terraforming just to make sure I had space. So yeah, sorry I'm not showing that to you. But the first thing I wanted to do was set down the house, and I've got Nan, and she's this sweet little goat, and so she's my Mr. Tumnus. I know she's not a Mr., but she could be an MX maybe, and you know, gender probably doesn't matter as much in Narnia, so yeah, she's my Tumnus. So the next thing I wanted to do was put out some trees because I wanted this to feel really like foresty and a kind of, yeah, like it's described in the book as a little cave. So that's part of why I've terraformed all around it. But I did want some greenery just to make sure that you knew it was like in the woods and stuff like that. So that was a big part of when I was terraforming this area, was just trying to make sure that I had enough cliff space for quite a few trees. Now please ignore the stuff on the right. This is me blocking out areas for my not my next speed build, but the one after, which will be the White Witch's castle, so please don't spoil it. And it'll look better than that in the actual build, but yeah, just like avert your eyes basically. So again, just putting out more trees, some tall fully grown ones, some little shorter ones. I also wanted a range of different types of trees because I just thought that looked kind of whimsical, like having some of the bamboo trees around as well, kind of a little bit hidden where they're not too prominent and look a bit too obviously out of place. Then when I got to this area, I realized that there wasn't quite enough cliff space for a tree there, so just did a little bit of adjusting of that terraforming, and then planted another cedar tree there. And here I just needed to plant a little fruit to keep this little tree the same size. And then over on this side I wanted a tree down around the middle, so again filled in the space. When I initially did the terraforming, I kind of wanted to create an uneven, not fully straight bit of land, even though it's at the back. Sometimes if you come up to the edge, then you might see it, but ultimately having another tree to me was more important than having that kind of natural jagged terraforming. So that is the trees mostly done. I think I fiddle around with it a little bit more later, but that's the main bulk of it. So one big thing I wanted to do was to have a moon in the background and just make it feel kind of atmospheric and like you are out in the wilds, and yeah, a bit magical. And then had these like mush log and the little tree bounty lamp and this monstera just to add to that kind of natural feel. Then I wanted to place a ton of bookshelves around because in the book it talks about how like his bedroom is just full of bookshelves, and he has these cute little different storybooks that allude to different parts of Narnia, and it's like about fauns and dryads and nymphs and stuff like that, so I thought that was really cute. And then just wanted to put some different natural items in front of the bookshelves to kind of add a bit more visual interest. So I had that bamboo slide, and then here the maple leaf pond stone. I also put down a little mush lamp. I think I've said before in previous builds, I do try to have different sources of light pretty prominently around. just to make sure it still looks kind of nice at nighttime. I just took down that mush lamp to give me enough space to plant that little pear tree to keep this tree the same size, and then a little clothesline. I mean, it's just classic Animal Crossing item, makes it look a bit homely, and then a little flower. So I think that was that section done. And then heading over to the right, just filling in this area with some plants and some different colors. I wanted it quite warm and rustic, so playing around with like the red, yellow, orange tones, and planting some bushes as well. And then just needed to go up and down quite a lot on this build because things were quite cramped and crowded. And just wanted to fill out all the different spaces with some visual interest, because like even though this is an area that I would expect visitors to go to, just in case they wandered their way over there, that I still wanted it to look quite full and decorated. And then just in general, I try to lay down custom designs everywhere that I don't have trees or flowers, especially bordering the flowers, because I don't want them to get too overgrown. That happened a lot on my previous island, and it just like drove me nuts trying to like dig them up all the time whenever it rained and stuff like that. So the handy thing of like putting a transparent design down is it still looks like greenery, like the green grass, but the flowers won't grow there. I just have this little transparent design there. And then on the right, I've added another bookcase, as you would have seen, and a little leaf stool with a snow globe. I really like the snow globe. It sort of, even though I'm not in winter, it kind of signifies that, this is Narnia in winter. I do end up moving that later on. I'll show you then, but just needed to find a good space for something special. So over here, just adding some more greenery, some bushes. I added some flowers and more custom designs on the ground again to stop those flowers overgrowing. I pretty much do it until they tell me you can't put a custom design down, because I don't really keep track of where I've put stuff, especially when I'm just laying things down to block off the flowers. It's pretty random. I'm sure some people do it with much more deliberate intention. So another clothesline, a little butter churn. Just thought they were cute little items that Mr Tumnus might use, or Miss Tumnus, whichever. Now I then lay down a rug. You might have noticed from the preview that this isn't the rug that I ended up going with, but I'll just show you the build up until here, up until it's done, basically this section, and then I'll cut to where I've replaced the rug design, because you don't need to see me do it twice. But I mean, I really love this rug. It just felt like too bright contrasted with everything else. It's just like, I think it works really well in a really white, bright cottagecore area, but because I was going with quite dark rustic colors, it felt jarring to me in the end. Oh, don't want a horse on the ground. And then putting down tassels on the edges. And this is just the standard tassel I use with every single rug coat. I just think it's so pretty. And then I created a little lounge area. In the book, it talks about how he just has like two little chairs, one for me and one for a friend, he says. But I thought like a log sofa would kind of take up the space a little bit better. And a little tiny library, again a nod to the books. A little barrel with a tree bounty lamp, again another piece of lighting. Sorry. And some stack of books and a little umbrella stand. The book talks about him having a little umbrella in the snow, so I wanted there to be a little stand that he would then place his umbrella when he came home. I put that mush log and placed a bamboo shoot lamp on top, just another type of lighting, and then wanted to create the kind of lounge diner area with this with this rattan low bench, rattan low table or something, and then that little flute, which I thought would be like the pan flute that he plays to lull Lucy to sleep, and a little tea cozy because I think they would be having tea. That little stone stool with the tissue box alludes to him crying, so he just like breaks into tears when he realizes he just like can't sell out Lucy to the White Witch. So I wanted to put a little tissue box for him to blow his nose with after he's done crying. And then for this area I wanted a little eating area, and then I wanted to use a bit of dirt pathing just to have a design that I could lay out a ton of custom designs on. And I thought it also kind of felt kind of cave-like in that way. The shape ended up a bit like a heart shape, which I thought was cute for Mr Tumnus. And then I'm just laying down some custom designs where I'm going to put a clay furnace later on. And then started building out this pathing. If you've seen my other video, I do a video of trying out 40 different types of the path, and this is the one I ended up choosing, this dark one with little purple flowers around it. I think it's really cute and really like it has nice design, even though it stays quite subtle. So I thought it just worked for my quite natural feeling Narnia island. But yeah, do check out that video, and you can see all the different variations you want to use. And then just laying out other parts of the pathing on the ground to like get a sense of how you would walk towards this area. Now you'll notice that I've elected to use only 11 slots for this pathing design. It actually has 15 design slots when you use the end caps, but I wanted to just keep them for other things in case I needed them. So that's why I've done this, which does make it a little bit harder to use. You need to be more mindful of how you do the ends, but anyways, it's worked out so far. And then adding some custom designs to the ground where I'm going to put a table on top, but I just want some visual interest when you look at this area. And then I placed this little clay furnace, and thought that was a cute little bit of fire, and maybe that's where he cooks. And then wanted to put down a mush table. I like how it adds a touch of whimsy and makes it feel very foresty, like it's something you might find in the forest compared to like a solid, very heavy wooden table. I put a little stool with a jug. I thought that could be the milk for the tea. And then placed just another item around. And then here I placed the antique chair. I wanted to have different types of seating arrangements, just so it felt quite like whimsical, and like Mr. Tumnus doesn't have a ton of money, so it just felt like maybe he would have found these items in different parts. And I set out tea and cake and stuff on the table, and then you see I've extended the dirt. I just wanted more to show when you placed the stools on top, so it felt more cohesively one area. I added a little mush stool, which I thought was cute. Again, just something quite natural that you'd find in the forest. And having different types of stools, I think, adds more whimsy. And this leaf stool as well. And then over here, I placed a stack of books. And then on this side, I felt like it was missing something, so I decided to put some more seating. I put like a cushion and that little stool, but I thought that area was a bit too white on that side and too dark on the right. So I decided to mix up the stools a little bit and place the little log stool on this side, and then the the white patterned wooden stool on the right. So I think that's a nicer balance of color tones. And then I started just dropping items on the ground. I know this affects your island rating, but to be honest, I don't care too much about my island rating. I'd rather just have these items of visual interest around, and I think it just adds like a nice touch of something, especially if you're going for that slightly more cluttered look, but you still want things to be accessible, you can walk over these items. Which I think makes it much more desirable if you're putting a ton of stuff on the ground and you want to be able to get around. So then just continuing on this path over here, it's like it does take a bit of practice getting used to your path and how you want the edges and curves to flow. I try not to do things in straight lines because I think it can then look a little bit less natural. So it just requires a bit of playing around basically, which is totally fine. But it's just time. Yeah, so again, these are things that I have to be a bit more careful about because I don't have the end cap, so rounding things out at the end is a little bit tricky. Then I thought that all looked a bit too straight diagonally, so I decided to add an extra bend in the road to create a more distinct curve on this side. And yeah, so I thought that looked a little bit more natural. And in general, these like designs, once you place other items around, I think that also fills up and makes it look more realistic as well. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just putting other custom designs and items all around. Yeah, and then seeing how things look. I quite like putting things in the middle of that fairy ring, if you haven't noticed. I think they just look cute together. And placing lots of like weeds and flowers around. And then I wanted to continue on this path because on the left is where I will put my lamppost. So just wanted to fill out this area, put a little stepping stone on that part. I got some bushes to fill in this area, and a tree on this side. And then I wanted to add some bug models just to give it a bit of life and yeah, just vibrancy. And then finished off that area and then wanted to work on this bit, which is where I would put the room with the wardrobe. Now I'm going to show you the beginning of my process, but you might have noticed from the intro that this area actually changed. I initially had it quite big and I had it full of like very visible bookshelves. But yeah, anyways, I'll tell you why I changed that later on. And I laid this little wooden design on the ground. This is the same design I used on my barn. It's basically a wooden door design, but I use it for a lot of things because I just think it's pretty multi-purpose and saves me another slot. So just put a ton of bookshelves around, kind of surrounding the area to make it feel like a room, like a separate room, not just an open area. And I'll also recreate this room inside the actual professor's house, but I wanted an area that felt like you were going from to the lamppost and like into Narnia. So that's why I just had to do it outside as well. And then Melba came to hang. I played around with having simple panels, but just didn't like how they were different heights, so that does eventually go. And then this is the big antique wardrobe, which is just so perfect for Narnia. I like the Geminar wardrobe, the closet, but it's just not the right color tones. So yeah. And then I ended up moving that the bookcase from the right, just so it'd be easier to walk through from behind the wardrobe into Narnia. So then adding some trees just to kind of close this area off a little bit more, and then trying to find a good place to fit in some trees here, so it does feel like she's going through a forest into the lamppost area. I wish I had more space for this area, to be honest, but it just is a bit limited because I have so many more areas I want to design for this Narnia island, so it is the size that it is. And then because of that, basically I decided I wanted to tear down some of this terraformed area around the woods between the worlds that I have right above. So initially I wanted that fully blocked off by terraforming and water, but I thought if I tore down a bit of this, then it would give me a little bit more room for a couple more trees, and that felt like a good trade-off to me. So just yeah, taking this down, it's just like shows how all of this is like all areas are kind of a work in progress, and you know, you might be happy with some bits but then ultimately decide to rework them just to make them fit a little bit better in your island design or make space for other things. So yeah, so just blocking that bit off and rounding some corners. And then I had more space for a couple more trees. Now that was too close to the cliff edge, so I just had to do it down here instead. And then, yeah, just figuring out where these trees should go. So yeah, so that felt a bit more wooded. And then trying to find space for a tree over here as well. So it's all a bit more enclosed, a bit more in a forest. So then obviously the street lamp. I love the item so much. Right, I then switched over back to Mr. Tumnus' area because I was rereading the book and I remembered how it talks about having a photo of an old fawn above the mantelpiece, and that's like Mr. Tumnus' dad. So I just I went through that really quickly, but basically I found a picture of a fawn online and just ran it through the custom design creator, and so yeah, that's my custom design now. And then I wanted to put a ton of coats down because in the book it talks about how she's like Lucy goes through the wardrobe and brushes against all these coats, and then she realizes like some of the coats aren't coats, they're just like they're fir trees. So I wanted to give a sense that she was walking through these coats. So put some of them are custom designs, and then I go back later on and get some real coats, like in-game coats. I've never said coats that often before. Anyways, and then planting some bushes over here. I put this so that you wouldn't accidentally stray off course and you'd have to go like through the wardrobe into Narnia. Just like I like kind of forcing the viewer to go through different areas. And then yeah, again placing a couple more coat designs around. I was kind of running out of coats, so I had this bathrobe, which I don't actually like and I changed later on, but it is what it is. And then put this little colorless coat here. and another coat here. So yeah, so you're walking through this little area full of coats, and then you find yourself in a forest. And just trying to find the right placement for all of those. And yeah, and then started working on a bit more on the design of the areas around here, placing down some custom designs. I just think it helps make the area feel more full when there's lots of designs on the ground. I don't fill every inch with like a visible design. Like I said, I use the transparent one quite a lot just because I do want some space to breathe, like for the eye to breathe. But yeah, like pretty much every other square I would like some kind of design on because I think it adds visual interest. And then I was just playing around with these bits. Wanted to plant a bit of flowers over back on the right, fill up this area a little bit more with some designs and items and things like that. Placed a little mush lamp, again for a cute bit of lighting and some kind of whimsy. Decided to move the umbrella over a bit, just away from the lamppost a little bit. And then again, some more flowers. And custom designs. And then wanted to fill in this area as well so that it looked a little bit more full. And yeah, just getting some more bushes and flowers and things like that. A whole range of different ground path designs. And with that, I think we're pretty much there. So what I also did is I flipped around the bookcases because I felt like they were too busy. And yeah, so anyways, this is how it looks. This is Lucy going through that room, through the wardrobe, up to the lamppost. I think this area, I tried to keep it quite simple because just what should stand out should be the lamppost and the little umbrella that Mr. Tumnus holds. So this is her just being curious and then meeting Mr. Tumnus here. Then he takes her along a little path over to his house, and here just like all the different items just add a little bit of whimsy and life and things like that. And then this is the final product with the house. So I think it came out just quite close to how I wanted it to. You have the little dining area on the right, and then the little chill out area on the left, bookcases, and all around that picture of the fawn at the top right, the moon in the back, just lots of greenery and different like natural items all around. The one thing that I wanted to do was like to put a little bed somewhere and a dresser, because it also talks about that, but it just didn't have, there wasn't really quite space for it, and it didn't feel as cohesive as this little dining area. So yeah, so that's how it all came together. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and this entrance into Narnia. If you did, please hit like, send me a comment, and do subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.